Hello, lacrosse friends. Welcome once again to Lacrosse Link, your link to all things lacrosse. I am your host, Steven Stamp. Thanks for being with us. This week, we speak to one player on either side of the crazy Week 16 game between the Vancouver Warriors and the Colorado Mammoth. We have Colorado captain Robert Hope, and we have Vancouver forward Logan Schuss. Great conversations with both of them. Really enjoyed it. I'm sure you will as well. Stay tuned, of course, for the rundown at the end when we share with you all the things you need to know about what is happening in the world of lacrosse. Be with us every Thursday night on Lacrosse Sports Network and in the archives on LSN. You can also check us out on the Lacrosse Link YouTube page for all the episodes. I say go back and watch some of the old ones. They're still fun. They're still relevant. Thanks for being with us. Enjoy the show.
Beautiful play, Aaron Gray Eyes. He is having himself a tournament. He made the save regardless of the crease call, and that shows he is at his acrobatic. In the middle, it just bounces off, but it's picked up and scored.
And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it.
Joining me on Lacrosse Link from the Colorado Mammoth, the captain, Robert Hope. Thanks for coming on. It's good to see you.
Good to see you, too. Thanks for having me.
So what a crazy weekend. I mean, I want to talk a little bit about that overtime game against Vancouver. The second time, I'm not sure it's ever happened. The team has twice in one season trailed another team, the same team, by 7 goals and come back to win both games. And it's funny because during the game, the Andy Lindahl, the play-by-play guy, asked, I think it was either Jamie Shuchuk or John Gallant, about, hey, does the fact that they came, the game from several weeks ago matter? And he was like, no, it doesn't mean anything. But I've got to think knowing you did it once has to help you keep your focus and believe a little bit more that you can do it again.
Yeah, I think we have a lot of belief in our team and the players that we have. But I think that, like you said, the opportunity that we had there a couple of weeks ago when we were down by whatever it was, 7, 8, 6, whatever it might have been, and we end up coming back. So I don't think that there was ever kind of a doubt in our mind. I know we didn't play, obviously, the greatest defensively. Our offense really kind of threw us on their back and kind of carried us through that. But we had lots of confidence and the guys up front. And again, it was a little bit back and forth with kind of D-Ward going out and then TC coming in and going back out. But it was kind of a group effort. Everyone sometimes, it's really just the win that matters at that point. It's kind of mid-game. I know, like I said, it wasn't our greatest performance, but we're really happy to get the win finally.
And you did kind of turn things around in a situation. And I'm curious about the focus. And as one of the leaders of the D, obviously, I'm curious how you and the rest of the gang were able to kind of keep your focus and just stay in it when you are down and you do have so little margin for error in that game. Because if you'd given up a couple more goals, late in the game, it just in the fourth quarter, that it makes it that much harder to try and achieve that comeback. So how do you guys keep the focus? How do you keep playing the way you had to? Especially like you said, Tyler Carlson comes in and he's doing a good job, and then he gets hurt. Dylan Ward has to come in. So much going on.
Yeah, I think at that point you just simplify the game. Just try to stick to the little things. Like, I know it's very cliche, but when you try to overcomplicate things and try to stick to systems and tell 1,000 things at once, I think that's when maybe breakdowns start to happen more. I think, again, like you said, we weren't playing great at the start. We were able to rebound. We made some small adjustments to what they were doing. They were had the hot stick, couple of their guys. And again, the simpler we can make it, and then just make sure that, again, the effort's there. And you kind of put those two things together. And again, like you said, 1 or 2 more goals there, we probably don't make the comeback. So D-Ward made some amazing saves after coming back in. When TC went out with injury, TC made some awesome saves too. So we were lucky to have those guys. And again, I know it's not easy, kind of probably going back and forth a couple times, and having the defense play the way that we did in front of them at the start wasn't great for them. But we kind of rebounded at the end.
You maybe a bit of an understatement saying they had a hot stick when Keegan Ball scored 8 goals. And I'm just, the obvious thing is, hey, do we lock him off? How do we deal with that? And you did a little bit at the end, it looked like, but really you can't just completely change your game because of one guy who's hurting you in a particular contest, right?
Yeah, again, I think he's such a athletic player. He's such obviously a great goal scorer, scored an 8 on us, and he's had a really good last handful of years. I think it's easier said than done just to lock him straight off. Again, it's professional lacrosse. It's a quick pick here, or a quick jab step there, and he's wide open again. So I think we just made some small adjustments into where we're going to slide to him. And kind of where, if he was going to beat us, we're going to put him in a good area in which our goalies know. And we made some small things, adjustments with guys behind the net and where the guy that was clearing out. I think our coaches did a great job kind of realizing that and realizing how much space we were giving them. It was obviously way too much. And yeah, we still got a couple late on him, but I think we did a better job on him later on. I know it's still really tough to say when he scores 8 goals on us, but I think we made some small adjustments there. And again, then but the right side really shut down their lefties. So that kind of helped out a lot. And again, D Ward and TC made some big stops and we needed them too.
Obviously, Pat Coyle is a terrific head coach. He's had success all over the place. And one of the things that makes a head coach successful is allowing his assistants to coach. And you've got Andrew McBride with, tons of experience. He's a real asset, I'm sure. But how hard is it for Pat Coyle to think in a game like that where things aren't quite clicking to not kind of jump in and want to take over a little bit?
Yeah, probably
does he just go ahead and do it?
No, you know what? Him and Brad have a really great relationship. And again, they kind of feed off each other. They obviously make sure that they have a collected message in which they're giving to the team. We have our D principles that they're both on the same page with. Obviously, at times, Patty's the head coach. Kind of his word goes. If there is any kind of maybe discretions there, or maybe, what if we do this or that? Patty's kind of like, no, that's what we're doing. And yeah, we stick to that. But again, they both kind of feed off each other and allow each other to talk and communicate. And they kind of have different aspects. If Patty's dealing with the O at the time or dealing with a certain player or whatever it might be, Brider's kind of obviously fully capable of doing it. And they're both great coaches, and we're really lucky to have them.
You look at the standings and things are pretty tight, fighting for those playoff positions. You've got Panther City is on a roll and you've got them coming up. You've got, Vancouver is right there. The 2 wins against them obviously are huge for you guys. But then you can't forget about Calgary, the defending champions, and Saskatchewan, who's just been there forever and kind of lurking, and they could get back in. How do you approach these final games? Obviously, the answer, I guess, is just every week, just prepare for that game. But what are you thinking you guys need down the stretch to make sure you get a playoff spot?
Yeah, like you said, it's tough to have that mentality every single week, but you have to almost think of every game as a playoff game. I know we kind of had that vibe last weekend, just kind of grinding to having 2 games in the same kind of weekend, the flights, the travel, kind of, it felt a lot like kind of summer ball and playing it that way. And kind of when, you just kind of, your body just takes over and what it's doing, even though pretty gassed at times. But again, like you said, it's such a tough race in the West. You can't really count anyone out. Even though some teams might be underachieving, some teams, like you said, Panther City is really hot right now. We're going to make sure that we just stick to our game plan. We know what other guys do, but we'll make small adjustments. Obviously, Panther City had a lot of success against us last time that they played us. They had some great young players. They still do. And they're really hot. So we'll make sure we watch the film. We make sure we prepare every weekend and we don't take anyone lightly. Now in the NLL, there's so much parity in the league. Every team's so good. You can't just say, there's the 2 points there and we'll just move on to the next one. Those are the ones that sneak up and kind of bite you in the butt, and you end up kind of losing that one. And then you're in, like you said, a dogfight for a playoff spot later in the season.
Yeah. Everyone back in Ontario obviously getting excited about finally having a summer season. It looks like Major Series is good to go. The MSL had their draft last weekend. The season is coming up. I know the Peterborough Lakers, where you're the captain there as well, have been talking about getting ready for the year and all the guys coming back. And it's got to be hard to focus on that. I know you're focused on Colorado and so many things going on, but I would think another big focus of your life right now is becoming a dad soon.
Yeah. We're very excited, myself and my wife, Erin. It's a busy time, I guess. I've been kind of planning to make sure that with travel and our guys, obviously Selfer and Cody Mall, kind of our assistant GM, they've been awesome with me. I just kind of let them know early on that what's going on and that I might need kind of a quick flight home just to make sure that obviously everything's good just in case something does happen. So yeah, I guess we're 3 weeks out right now to the actual due date on April 11th. And so Erin's been great so far, and she's got a couple more doctor's appointment. But kind of there's a lot going on right now with lacrosse and the summer and with junior and junior lacrosse, and now with a baby on the way. So we're very excited, and hopefully everything works out.
Right. I mean, we haven't even touched on that you're going to be the head coach for the Peterborough Junior A Lakers, right?
That's correct. Yeah. So there's been a lot of kind of movement there too, like you said, with our draft before the MSL one. And then we just kind of are getting our schedule together, player confirmation. And so again, the coaching staff's also excited with that. So there's a lot of things to look forward to here coming up.
And of course, a team where a lot of the core of that Junior A Lakers team is the guys who won the Futures tournament last year in the shortened OJLL season. So there's a lot of excitement there. But again, first things first, obviously dealing with Colorado and the baby and kind of managing your time, I imagine.
Yes. Yeah. One step at a time here, kind of worry about the game this weekend, make sure everyone's safe and healthy at home. Hopefully, again, we've talked about this, maybe hopefully the baby's a midweek baby and not a game day baby by any means. But yeah, hopefully everything kind of works out, and then just, worry about the Colorado first and make sure everyone's healthy at home and baby safe and Erin safe, then go from there.
Really appreciate you working us into your schedule, and look forward to following you down the stretch and seeing you at an actual lacrosse rink in the near future. Is going to be very exciting.
I can't wait. It should be all great.
Hi, this is Jaden with Al Anderson Source for Sports. Excited to tell you that we got all our new lacrosse product in for this upcoming season. Whether you're playing box or field, our lacrosse experts are going to make sure we get you into the right equipment to elevate your game. At Al Anderson Source for Sports, we know our stuff.
Joining me from the Vancouver Warriors after helping a friend in need with some moving on a rainy Vancouver day. Thanks for joining us, Logan Schuss.
Absolutely, no problem. Thanks for having me.
Great to catch up. And not the result you wanted, but what a fascinating game on the weekend. Just a thrill-a-minute ride that fans of goals would love. Obviously not how you guys were hoping it would wind up at the end, but I'd like to have you talk about what it's like to be in a game like that as a forward, especially as a guy who's had some pretty big games yourself, being on the floor with a guy like Keegan Ball absolutely going off.
Yeah, I think it was probably one of the most roller coaster of emotion type games we've had this year. We've had a couple strong starts where we got out to leads, and then twice now that we've been on the losing end of coming out strong, and then the other team kind of catching up to us. But just like a game within a game was just watching what Keegan Ball was doing. It was just every time that he scored, it was almost like a highlight reel every time. And on the way back to the bench, we were just like laughing with each other, just thinking like, wow, like I didn't know he had 8 during the game. I was like, wow, like after the game when we were sitting there kind of all hanging our heads a bit, I was like looking at the stats on my phone. I was like, geez, he had 8 goals. Like that's unbelievable performance. So no, he's a special player.
And you're no dummy. You saw what was going on. You may not have known he had 8, but you knew he was having a night, and you kept feeding him. All 5 of your assists in the game came on Keegan's goals, and the last 3 were all primary assists on his last 3 goals, including your team's last 2, as you tied things up to went ahead to force after Colorado come back, right? So you clearly had a sense like, give this guy the ball when he saw it.
Yeah, that was like kind of our game plan. Whenever someone has a hot stick, we want to kind of keep it hot and get them the ball. And our kind of game plan was to set up a little bit of a pick and roll game and kind of move our feet on the left side and swing it over to Baller, let him do his thing, but be there to show support and to see, we knew they're going to try to double team us, but double team him, but it didn't stop him. Clearly, he kept finding a way to the net and kept finding a way to score.
I asked Robert Hope about, do you just try and lock a guy off? And he said, you can try and do that, but with a guy as athletic as that, and with players like yourself and Keegan, and other guys on your offense that are obviously very good at this, you can try to do that, but a jab step here, a pick there, and you're going to create openings anyway.
Yeah, that's the beauty of lacrosse, and you kind of see it in the other sports, especially like the NBA, where it's tough to lock a guy off. Like you said, there's so many ways to get them open with picks and screens and just kind of set plays that can get a guy open. And defensively, you can't just turn your head and not worry about the ball carrier if Keegan's playing off ball, because it's defense. Help defense is so big in this league. So probably just like what Hope said, it's hard to lock somebody off when we have 5 guys that can score so well on our team. So it was just like Keegan had the hot stick this game, and previous game was Riley Lowen, and hopefully next game it could be me.
Yeah, and I mean, you had 6 points, and again, smart plays to recognize and make those passes, right?
Yeah, I think anytime that you can kind of change a game up and be a feeder and hopefully also be a scoring threat, I think that kind of makes what a great player in this league is all about, is kind of having that 2 or 3 dimensional parts to your game that can make you a threat.
As a team, I mean, you talked about having a bunch of guys who can score, but as a team, you have to be missing Mitch Jones on the floor. I'm sure you're missing him, maybe not you personally as much, because you and he, I feel like, spend a lot of time together anyway, but is the team missing him off the floor as much? Because, he seems to be such an important element, the two of you, to the atmosphere and camaraderie of the team as a whole.
Yeah, we're definitely missing him, but one thing about Mitch is that he loves lacrosse, and he does whatever he can to be around it. He's at every optional shooting, optional workout, our practices, our game day shoot arounds. Like, he's at everything, and he does whatever he can to make a connection to all the players on the team. And he does these things called Jonesy's clips, actually, after every game on our video film, and he definitely goes at some guys that he doesn't shy away from his coaching abilities of pointing things out that he thinks needs to be worked on. But he also does a great job of, pointing out great things that guys are doing. So little tough love here and there, but a guy like his caliber and has been there and won big games and been at playoffs and championship level teams, I think a lot of especially the younger guys, listen to it.
Yeah. Throwing shade, like you're saying, Jones, you'll have some shots at you guys after the games, but throwing shade is obviously a popular pastime in the game. And you're well known for your social media game. And I want to jump back a bit. I mean, it's a little old news now, but you had some shade thrown by John Grant Jr. when you professed your love of Nickelback, and you actually buckled a little, but you kind of brought it back in. What's your approach to social media? Because it seems to me like you're just basically being yourself and just throwing it out to share with the world. Yeah,
definitely. I think I have like a pretty good outgoing personality, and I know we've met in person a few times, and definitely guys on my team and other teams that I've known for a while, they know my personality. So I like to kind of let it shine through my social media, and I'm not afraid to kind of poke fun at myself here and there, and to just keep things light. I think that's my kind of attitude with everything, is keep it light when you can, and then, buckle down when you have to. But I think it's just a great way to communicate, especially sometimes with fans, but with players across the league. There's a lot of great players in this league, have great personalities, and it's cool to interact with a bunch of them across all these different platforms.
It always is fun to see your socials, to see you in person at rinks and get a chance to chat and things. I'm curious, what else have you got going on? What are you doing outside of lacrosse to keep yourself amused these days?
Yeah, I actually, during the pandemic, it's funny that I was never a big gamer, like video games and such, but I kind of logged on one day, and Brett Midsky kind of got me involved with playing a little Call of Duty. And it was funny, this is when he was still a member with the Rush. This was 2 years ago. It's kind of started, it's been so long, but kind of started playing with like Ryan Dilks and Chris Corbeil quite a bit. And I had never had a relationship with those guys off the floor, just kind of knew them on the floor. So it was kind of funny to get to know them via, chatting online with headsets and stuff. And it's funny that we became kind of close friends during it all. And if I'm not playing the video games, I just actually connected with the BC Special Olympics, somebody within their their program there to kind of see which ways I can get involved in the next couple months here. And I think we got some cool, exciting ideas to move forward. I definitely love to get involved with any type of sports and any type of coaching I can. So I think this would be a great way to get involved in BC Special Olympics.
Sounds like very cool for you and for the Special Olympics. We know your heart's in the right place, so not surprising that you're getting down with that. In terms of the gaming, boy, that's you developing a very different relationship with a bunch of defenders from the NLL than you would have on the floor.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. And other guys that we've played with and connected with was like Jake Withers, Ryan Tarafanko, obviously a couple Buckeyes that I've have a good relationship with. But it's just cool. Like part of it, I'm not like a video game, guy that plays every single night. But when I do go on, you kind of get that camaraderie of a team aspect of playing with guys and chatting and just the talking. And, during those times where we weren't really allowed to go out and to socialize, I think it was a great way to kind of keep my sanity a bit and be able to chirp guys and have some fun.
You need that outlet when you don't have it on the floor, like you said. Really appreciate your time, Logan, and it's always great to catch up. Look forward to seeing you in a rink in person very soon.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on.
All right, lacrosse friends, hope you enjoyed those conversations with Robert Hope and Logan Schuss as much as I did. Always fun to catch up with the guys and talk about some things lacrosse and outside lacrosse related, even if it's tangentially involved, of course. So this week on the rundown, we are going to get into some of the things from around the world of lacrosse that are going to be of interest to you. And we start south of the border once again, where last week we built up the North Carolina versus Boston College #1 versus #2 women's lacrosse game. And if anything, we undersold it. What a game it was between UNC and BC. And, you've got Charlotte North and all the women who won the championship last year, or a lot of them back for another go against a UNC team that was also undefeated heading into the weekend. And what a game. Carolina leads most of the way, but BC has Charlotte North. You figure they can come back. They do come back. They get within a goal. The final score 16-15. What a game. Some amazing highlights, some amazing play, a very intense rivalry game between those two teams that you just have to figure we're going to see playing again later in the season. On the men's side, there was also a #1 versus #2 matchup. We built that up a bit. It didn't quite live up to what we, I think everyone was expecting, as Maryland clobbered Virginia 23-12. And, Lars Tiffany, the Virginia coach, after the game said, there's no question who the #1 team in the country is. It's obviously Maryland at this point. So we'll see how both of those programs move on from there. Sticking with some field lacrosse, the Summer Field Lacrosse League has posted odds on all of its teams to win the 2022 championship. There's already plenty of talk that the defending champion Chaos are going to use it as bulletin board material because they are the third favorite behind Water Dogs and Whip Snakes. It's pretty close. The top three are all pretty much, you could throw a blanket over them, but still, the Chaos, renowned for using bulletin board material. Last year, of course, only 3.2% of the fans picked them to win the championship, and they rode that hard to a championship. And of course, the Chaos, the favorite team of everyone in Canada, everyone in Buffalo. They have a ton of Canadians, a ton of Bandits. That now includes Dahoga Nanticoke, who they picked up. So a championship team adding a player of that caliber. Interesting to see how that goes as the PLL season approaches. north of the border and back in the box. Major Series Lacrosse held its entry draft of graduating junior players last weekend. Don't go watch the broadcast. It did not go well. But the real talent added to the league was a good thing. Owen Sound started things off by taking Thomas McConvey from the Mimico Mountaineers. No big surprise there. He was outstanding last year. He's a big, strong, talented player who has just been getting better over the last few seasons when he's been able to play. He's been great in college. He's been terrific in last year in the OJLL series, the shortened season that they managed to put on, and he was great. After that, his Mimico teammate Peyton Cormier went to Brooklyn, and then it was the Oakville Rock Show. They were wheeling and dealing. They got the next 4 picks, the final 4 picks of the first round, added a huge influx of talent to the track where they play, the Toronto Rock Athletic Center, where the Oakville Rock play. So huge for them. It's going to be interesting to see how things play out for Oakville with the talent they got that we're going to try and show you on the screen. You can see who they've added. Finally, this weekend coming up, a huge matchup, the highlight of the NLL weekend, which as we're getting into the playoff stretch, into the final third of the season, things are heating up, but this is the one to keep an eye on. A home and home doubleheader, Buffalo and Halifax. They're in Buffalo on Saturday. Then both teams travel to Halifax for the Sunday game. And just think, with Buffalo coming in at 10-1, Halifax coming in at 8-3. If the Thunderbirds sweep, all of a sudden we've got a tie at the top of the East at 10-3. Halifax has the tiebreaker. That is a real race for top in the division. If Buffalo is able to sweep, all of a sudden they're 12-1. They have a stranglehold on the East, and the Thunderbirds would be dropped into a meat grinder of a playoff race with the group of Toronto, Georgia, Albany, and Philadelphia all chomping at the bit to get after them and hope they can close ground and move up in the standings. So interesting to see how that one plays out. Lots of other interesting games going on in the NLL, but this one's going to draw a lot of attention. Thanks so much for being with us, lacrosse friends. I'm your host, Steven Stamp. Really pleased to have you with me once again. Please do hit us up on Twitter, on email. Love to hear from you with ideas for guests, things you'd like to see us cover, story ideas of things that are really cool from around the world of lacrosse that we can share with everyone following along on Lacrosse Link. And just say hi if you feel like it. We'd love to hear from you. That is Lacrosse Link, your link to all things lacrosse for this week. Can't wait to see you again soon.